Prosperous Yogini podcast, episode 9. What class times? Hello, my lovelies, and welcome to the Prosperous Yogini podcast, episode 9. And today is another one of these really practical episodes, particularly useful if you're starting out in your journey as a yoga teacher, as a business owner, but will equally be useful to you if you've been teaching for a while. I would like to talk to you about best times for your yoga classes. And the reason why this is coming up today is within the Prosperous Yogini mentorship program, one thing that I'm noticing that's coming up for those that have already joined, yes, there's people in there, and yes, there's people already smashing it and being supported by me, and I'm really excited about the impact that my mentorship program is already having. So do head over to amyyoga.com, have a look at it, maybe sign up to the free training, maybe just go for it and sign up to my mentorship program. But one of the things that are coming up pretty frequently is what time should I run my classes? And it's not just what times, like people are debating for large chunks of their own time about whether I should run my class at 6 or 6:15. Should I try running a daytime class, for example? Now, when we first start out in our yoga teacher journey, yoga business journey, and or we try anything new, here's one of my favorite sayings: if you don't go, you don't know. So if you know anything about me, I am very passionate about yoga and helping women create their own profitable, sustainable business. I am a mother, love my family dearly, and what my biggest why I am self-employed yoga teacher, so I can create a business around my family. So family is really important to me, yoga and my yoga business is really important to me. Alongside those two things is surfing. I am totally addicted to riding my 9-foot longboard in relatively small waves, if I'm honest, but I am totally addicted to it and get in the sea as much as I possibly can. I'm super lucky. I live on the North Cornish coast in Cornwall. I can walk down to one of the UK's premier surf breaks. I'm so lucky and so addicted to surfing. And one of the sayings that we have as surfers is, if you don't go, you don't know. So as a surfer, you can get really locked into where's the best conditions, okay? This is very, very similar to getting locked into the internal debate as when is the best time to offer my yoga class? So as a surfer, you'll be like, right, low tide here, high tide here, wind direction here, size of tide, size of swell. And you're like, oh, I could go here, I could go there. And you turn up at a particular break and you go, oh, it might be better over there. So you drive, and what you can end up doing, and I know as a surfer, you can end up driving everywhere, driving for a couple of hours and not even surfing, okay? And the place you should have surfed is the first beach that you went to, okay? This is true of your yoga business. You can debate, oh, should I run a class time here, run a class time here? Should I try this venue? Should I try this venue? Will people come to this? You end up not booking any venue and not setting up any classes because you're kind of waiting for the right, perfect time. And there actually isn't one. And as a surfer, there isn't that one perfect wave. So you turn up at the beach. If it looks good enough to surf, go in. You turn up at a venue. It looks like a good place to give it a go. There's a slot available that's going to work for you. Give it a go. If you don't go, you don't know. Okay, like there isn't one perfect wave, and I turn up at the beach and it's too fun clean. My friend who likes big waves will turn up at the beach and think it's too small. I think it's perfect. This is same with your class times, okay? One class time is perfect for you and a group of people, and it's impossible for someone else. You cannot pick a class time that's going to suit everyone. So when we fall into people pleasing in our business is when we fall into indecision. Now, people pleasing is Perfectly understandable. Of course, you want to pick a class time that's going to be popular, first of all, because you want people to come to your yoga classes, because you want to share the light that is yoga. You want to have a full class of people doing yoga with you, because you want it to be profitable. You don't want to turn up every week, teach a yoga class and lose money. That is not sustainable for anyone, or fun, okay? So it's perfectly fine to want to have a good class time so your class is profitable. That's absolutely fine. In fact, it's not absolutely fine, it's essential for the long-term success of your yoga class. So class times and venues are important, but you have to accept now there isn't one perfect venue, there isn't one perfect slot, and you cannot please everyone. When we fall into people pleasing, we fall into indecision, okay? And sometimes I talk about this, you have to put what I call your flag in the sand. You have to go here. Here is where I am going to teach. This is the time that I am going to teach. This is the type of yoga class that I'm going to teach. This yoga class will be good for X, Y, and Z, okay? Because you can't have there's no such thing as a yoga class for everyone, okay? There's just no such thing. This is why we have so many different styles of yoga and types of yoga, because there's so many different humans. We're all unique. We're all looking for something different. We all need something different. So, but secondly, your yoga class isn't yoga for all, isn't yoga for everyone. Okay, it's going to be for a certain group of people. Make sure you're clear as to what that yoga class is and who's it for. So when I come across your yoga class, when I come across you, I know that that is a class that I would like, or that is a class that I'm looking for. But when we start out, or when we try to create something new, we don't know. Now, like I will give you the example, in my business, like my Prosperous Yogini mentorship program, I have gone, this has been something I've been creating for the last 12 months. I've gone round and round in circles about how I'm going to deliver it, when I'm going to do live training course, okay? And in the end, I had to say, this is how it's going to work for me. This is how I'm going to deliver it. It is the same for you and your classes. But I could have easily, with my mentorship program, there's a big spider. If you've ever done online yoga with me, if you're listening to this on just audio, you'll be like, what on earth is going on? If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're watching the video, my face just went, oh. If you've ever done online yoga with me, a couple of times I'll be teaching yin yoga and then this big spider crawls along the mat and I'm like, ah! I just had one of those moments. I'm not going to re-record, I'm going to keep going. It's a friendly spider, he's gone off. He's gone off. What was I talking about? Okay, yeah. So when you start something new, you don't know what's going to work. So I will give you an example of one of my students. She is starting 2 evening classes and we have debated about whether she should start at 6 or 6:15 for her first class and 7:30 or 7:15 for her second class. In the end, and we've spent quite a lot of time debating this, in the end, I'm like, you've got to go with what's going to work for you and a sense of what's going to work for the majority of people. And she's already got some people that are coming to her classes, that are in her community. And the 6 o'clock class, a lot of people were coming back and saying, I'm not going to be able to make that class because of work. Whereas if she just shifts it to 6:15, people can make it. So small adjustment can make a big difference. But she's just starting out on her yoga teacher journey. And we've also been considering, should she replicate what she's doing in the evening in a daytime class? Because when you run daytime classes, you do open the door to a different demographic of people. And there isn't the right answer here. Okay, there are 2 schools of thought that if you're in my mentorship program and you come to me and say, Amy, I'm just starting out. I'm going to start an evening class. I'm going to start 2 evening classes, a foundations beginners course, and then like a yoga flow. Okay. Should I take those 2 classes and do them during the day as well? Here is what I would say to you, okay? 1, you could just stick with those 2 classes and focus on getting that right. Focus on filling those classes and getting the model, the systems in place to fill those 2 classes. Because once you've done that, you know you can replicate the systems, the model to fill other classes, okay? And you're not spreading your energy too thin, you're just focusing on filling those 2 classes. The other mistake we can often make, whether we're just starting out in our journey or been teaching for ages, is actually offering too many classes. So sometimes more is not more, sometimes less is more. So if I give you the example of if I'm teaching 3 vinyasa yoga classes a week, okay? I could have a thought in my head, well, that means I can fill those 3 classes and make more money. But what that can sometimes translate is you're spreading the number of people in your community thinner over those 3 classes. So you're giving more time, more energy, more money in terms of room hire if you're going out to teach in person, but you're not getting the same amount of energy back as if you were just teaching 2 classes, focused on getting those 2 classes full. When those classes are full, waiting list, there's a sense of demand. People are on your email list now because they want to be able to book onto your classes. Then you can start a 3rd class. And for me, I've been there. I don't know if I've shared this story. It's a great story. Like when I first qualified as a yoga teacher, I was full of excitement and I went out to my local village hall and I booked 3 slots. A Tuesday evening, a Thursday evening and a Saturday morning. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to have these 3 classes in my local village hall. I'm a yoga teacher. Anyway, I then soon realised that I didn't have any of the systems in place. I didn't have a website. Now, this is back in 2008 when, websites were relatively revolutionary, but I didn't have a website. I didn't have a way of putting a flyer up, a poster up, or telling people about my classes. I wasn't on social media. I'm like, I've got no idea how to fill 1 class, let alone 3 classes. And I had to cancel all 3 bookings. And I left it quite late, to be honest. And I think I upset the guy at the village hall. And that was a big mistake. But it was a good one because it made me realise that the first thing I had to do is book 1 class and fill that class, get that nailed, build my community, build a community of raving fans, of people that love doing yoga with me, who will then go and tell other people that can then start a 2nd class, a 3rd class. And that's how I grew my business. So definitely be careful that you're not spreading yourself thin, and particularly when you start out, you just qualified, that you don't suddenly sign up to teaching all these classes, okay? It's much better to start with a couple of classes and get those dialed down. However, the caveat, the second thing I would say to you if you're in my mentorship program and we're having this conversation is, if you don't go, you don't know. So sometimes we have got to see it as an experiment. So let's go back to this lady who's in my mentorship program and her evening classes. I've said to her, well, yeah, get those 2 evening classes going, get them full, okay, get your systems in place, and then you can start your daytime classes. But you actually don't know that your daytime classes might be more popular. And it goes back to what us surfers say, if you don't go, you don't know. There isn't one perfect time, place, venue for your yoga classes. There isn't one perfect wave, okay? So the counter argument is maybe you should try the daytime classes as well. So yes, I could be spreading myself too thin. I could be spreading those 10 people that might be coming to my classes across 2 or 3 classes rather than having 1 full class of 10. Or I might surprise myself, because we make assumptions. We make assumptions that the evening classes are going to be busier than the daytime classes. We make assumptions and that stops us taking action. I make assumptions still. I will give you an example of when I've made an assumption in my business relatively recently. So I have always taught my pregnancy yoga classes on an evening or a weekend morning, because I've gone, that's when pregnant women are around. You know, most pregnant women are working. They need an evening class, early evening class, or an early-ish morning weekend class so they can get to class. Then last year, in the autumn term, 2021, I put in a 1 o'clock Friday pregnancy yoga class after I taught toddler and mum and baby yoga. The reason being, my pregnancy yoga class was full in the evening. I had a waiting list and I was like, I've got more pregnant women than I can serve. I'm going to start a second class and I'm just going to do it on Friday at 1 o'clock because I'm in teaching anyway. It's actually not going to cost me any more in room rental because I'm paying for the session. It's probably not going to be very popular. Oh my God, I had 10 women sign up to this Friday 1 o'clock pregnancy yoga class. Okay, it totally blew me away, and it's made me shift my advice. For those that do my pre and postnatal teacher training course, I'm like, well, the best class times are early evening, Monday to Thursday, or 9-10 o'clock on a Saturday morning. They're the times that work for me. And I'm like, no, just to let you know, I've now got a really busy, profitable daytime class as well. And this is the thing, we can make assumptions, we make up rules, we have these beliefs, and they're not true. And because we've fully subscribed to our beliefs, we don't take action. So there is a sense of, if you don't go, you don't know. So the counter argument is, set up the daytime classes as well and test the water. And I think that's when you're starting out and you're creating your schedule of classes, if that's how you're going to start teaching. And there's a whole host, isn't there? So many ways that we can earn money as a yoga teacher now. It doesn't have to just be going out and teaching weekly classes. It can be retreats. It can be working one-to-one with people. It can be online business, online membership. Okay, there are loads of ways to do it, but the most common way, after you've qualified as a yoga teacher, the most common way that we share the light that is yoga, we cut our craft, as I call it, is we go out and we teach some form of a weekly class. That's the most common way. And actually, if you're a newly qualified yoga teacher, it's a really important way to hone your skills as a teacher. And then you hone your skills as a teacher, and of course you can then branch out into all the wonderful ways that you can earn money as a yoga teacher and share the light that is yoga. So test, and this is a thing in our business. There's all these things that we think we're not going to be very good at, or we're not going to be successful at, or we can't do. If you don't go, you don't know. And then you can test, because our mind likes to say, well, this isn't going very well. What does the data tell you? So for example, I decide, actually, I'm going to do 2 daytime classes and 2 evening classes, and I'm going to run this for 12 weeks. I'm going to run this in the autumn term, and then at the end of it, I'm going to look at the data. I'm going to look at which classes were more profitable, okay? From that information, from those facts, I'm going to make a decision about whether I should just teach daytime classes, whether I should drop the daytime classes and focus on building the evening classes, whether they're all doing really well and I need to start a new class, okay? This has got nothing to do with what my beautiful brain may say to me about what I should and shouldn't do. So when we start out deciding when and where and how we should teach, okay, my kind of like conflicting advice, you've got to go with what feels right for you. My 2 kind of pieces of advice is, don't go out and start too many classes, okay? Don't spread yourself too thin in terms of numbers of people that are going to realistically come into your community and your energy in needing to fill these classes. That said, if you don't go, you don't know. So if you're debating whether daytime versus evening, I think you have to test the water. I think you have to have a go at doing both, set a time frame on this to test your hypothesis, which classes are going to be more successful. At the end of that time frame, you take the data, you analyze which classes have been more profitable for you, okay, and from there, you make a decision, okay? Decision based in fact, not based in something your beautiful brain has created. But one of the big things that I want you to take away from today's podcast is if you don't go, you don't know, okay? And we can stop ourselves from doing stuff because fear of it failing, fear of it not working, okay? But if you don't take action, if you don't go, you don't know, then it's never going to work. And failing and getting something wrong or something not working is one of your most powerful weapons in honing what does work. Everything that I've got in my business that is successful has come from a place of putting it out there, some of it not working, okay, and re-evaluating and refining it. Failure is wonderful. Failure is needed for you to bring yourself to a place that is working for you. Then lastly, to conclude, one of the best class times and venues and ways of delivering your classes is what's going to work for you. Because if it doesn't work for you, then it's not going to work. And there's a lovely yoga teacher that I absolutely love going to her classes, and she just simply really struggles to teach in the evening. She doesn't have children, it's just evening teaching energetically doesn't align with her. And what makes me so proud, not proud, but just like her messaging is so clear, she just doesn't teach in the evening. If you want to do yoga with this teacher, she does daytime classes only. She 100% honors her own energy levels. She just can't teach in the evening. And as a result of just going, no, this will not work for me, she's created a successful business around daytime class offerings and weekend workshops and retreats. So it's really important, along with looking what is available, considering what class times are going to work for those people that come into your classes. In the mix of all of this, don't forget you. And we do this all the time as women. We prioritize other people's needs over our own. We are hardwired into that. When we prioritize other needs over our own, then it's energetically out of balance. It is unsustainable. So if you pick a class time that isn't going to work for you, at first you might be able to cajole yourself into it, go along, think, wow, it's full, I've got a profitable class. But over time, you resent it, energetically resent it because it's not working for you. And the net result is over time, it doesn't work. Like I have got children, they are aged 10 and 7 now, and our weekends are busy. Okay, and I also feel like I'm looking down the barrel of the gun of the teenage years. Like I'm heading to a place where my eldest ain't gonna want to hang out with me anymore, and suddenly these weekends have become really precious. So a few months ago, I've taught on a Saturday morning Vinyasa yoga. I've taught a Saturday morning Vinyasa yoga class for 12 years, okay? A few months ago, despite this class being successful, part of a successful membership, a few months ago, I let that class go. It was massive, but I knew I had to do it because I was beginning to really resent the impact of teaching on a Saturday morning, the impact that was having on me and my family. And amongst this mix of when I should teach, where I should teach, is what is going to work for you. It is so important that actually you need to start with what's going to work with me, what's available in terms of how I want to deliver my classes. So if you're teaching in person, what spaces are available to you, okay? Then test. Give it a go. If you don't go, you don't know. Don't get stuck in the indecision. Indecision is no action. Take imperfect action. Look at the data and then refine, test and refine, okay? This is how you end up crafting a teaching schedule that works for you. And just to finish, don't forget, the person flying the plane, the person running this business is you. You can change your teaching schedule, your class times as your life changes, as your life evolves, whenever you need to. Okay, my lovelies, I hope that's been really, really useful. If you are a newly qualified yoga teacher and you're starting out and you feel like, there's that spider. I'm used to watching on YouTube and my face goes, oh. And if you are a newly qualified yoga teacher and you're just starting out and you're feeling like overwhelmed by where to start, I would love you to come over to my mentorship program. You don't have to be a newly qualified yoga teacher. If you would just like to hire me on your team to support you, and we work together initially for 6 months to support you to create this profitable, sustainable yoga business, to support you to make these decisions that, we get stuck in indecision all the time, to help you become unstuck, make decisions in your business and create that profitable, sustainable yoga business. Please head over to amyyoga.com, click on Prosperous Yogini. I'll put the links in the show notes. Have a look at my mentorship program. There is also a free training, 3 steps to purpose and profit in your yoga business. Sign up to this. It's completely free. It's only 30 minutes. It's going to help you, okay? And it also allows you to see whether we're going to work together well, because I want you to know that I'm the right mentor for you. I want you to know that my mentorship program is going to be right for you, because when we're in that place, Mr. Spider. In fact, I don't know if any of you have watched Peppa Pig. If you haven't got children, you won't have watched Peppa Pig, but that is definitely Mr. Skinny Legs over there. And he's coming towards me, so I'm going to end my podcast now so he doesn't crawl on me. So head over to amyyoga.com, check out my mentorship program. That's what I'm trying to say. I would love to work with you. I would love to help you craft your teaching schedule that works for you. That is one of the things that we do together. All right, my lovelies, have a good week and I'll see you all next week.